The golden hues of sunset cascaded over the cozy yet cluttered living room of the Pele family home in Honolulu, a space where the air hung heavy with the scent of saltwater and plumeria, mingling with the faint tang of aged wood and coconut oil. The room was a gallery of Hawaiian heritage, woven mats with intricate patterns that whispered tales of ancient voyages across the Pacific, a weathered tiki statue standing sentinel in the corner, its carved eyes seeming to watch over the family with a silent blessing, and faded photographs pinned to the walls, capturing moments of laughter, loss, and love frozen in time. Kailani Pele, a 35-year-old single mother, stood amidst a towering stack of dirty dishes, her weary eyes betraying the weight of responsibility she carried with quiet strength, her hands roughened by years of weaving and care. Her voice, sharp yet laced with a mother's love, cut through the humid stillness. "Maile, if you don't pitch in, this house will sink faster than a canoe caught in a storm," she called out, her hands planted firmly on her hips as she surveyed the chaos of scattered toys, homework, and a basket of unwashed laundry. Her daughter, Maile, a 16-year-old with a rebellious streak softened by a hidden kindness, lounged on the sagging sofa, its faded floral pattern worn thin by time, her fingers dancing across her phone screen with the distracted grace of youth. "Mom, I'm swamped with school projects," she sighed, rolling her eyes with a dramatic flair only a teenager could muster, her voice carrying a hint of playful defiance. "Why can't Grandpa handle it?" Across the room, Kimo Pele, a 70-year-old grandfather with a face etched by years of sun and stubbornness, snored loudly in his rocking chair, a ukulele cradled in his lap like a cherished companion, its strings occasionally twanging with his shifting weight. His soft snores carried a faint, haunting melody of old Hawaii, a reminder of days when the island rang with songs of triumph and unity, now faded into a gentle hum that blended with the distant crash of waves. The quiet rhythm of their lives shifted with a gentle knock at the door, a sound that carried a soft promise of change, like the first breeze before rain. Outside stood Mrs. Kiwi, a kind-hearted social worker in her 50s, her presence warm yet tinged with the sorrow of her duty, her floral dress swaying slightly in the evening air. Beside her was Loki, an 8-year-old boy with a timid demeanor, his small frame nearly swallowed by a worn suitcase that hinted at a journey marked by loss, scuffed edges, and a loose strap telling a quiet story of upheaval. Its contents a mystery wrapped in faded fabric. "Kailani," Mrs. Kiwi said softly, her voice like a morning mist settling over the land, "this is Loki. His parents. They're gone, lost in a storm that took their fishing boat last month, a tragedy that left him alone. He needs a family." Kailani's breath caught in her throat, the memory of her husband Manu's boat vanishing into a tempestuous sea stirring a pain she'd buried deep beneath her daily struggles, a wound that ached with every crash of the waves outside. She glanced at Maile, whose frown deepened into a scowl, a silent protest against this new disruption to their fragile routine, and hesitated, her heart weighing the burden of another mouth to feed against the echo of her own loss. But with a slow, tender nod, her eyes glistening with unshed tears, she opened the door wider, inviting Loki into their chaotic sanctuary, a choice that felt both heavy with responsibility and destined by the spirit of ohana. The boy stepped inside, his tiny hands clutching a stitched doll with button eyes that gleamed softly in the dim light, its fabric patched with care that spoke of someone's love, perhaps his mother's final gift. As he settled onto the faded sofa, its springs creaking under his slight weight, the doll, Stitch Jr., stirred with a gentle twitch, its small voice chirping in a tone both curious and comforting, "I am Stitch Jr., friend from far away." The family paused, a mix of surprise, warmth, and wonder swirling in their gazes. Kailani's brow softened with a mother's instinct, Maile's mouth curved into a curious smile that hinted at acceptance. And Kimo's snores faded into a low chuckle that rumbled from his chest. Then, with a mischievous twinkle in its button eyes, Stitch Jr. wiggled a paw, and with a faint shimmer of light, the towering pile of dishes tidied itself, the clatter of porcelain replaced by a stunned yet delighted silence. A ripple of laughter broke the tension, Maile's giggle blending with Kimo's hearty chuckle, the first sign that this odd little intruder might just weave a new thread into their frayed family fabric, a thread of hope in a tapestry worn thin by grief and time. The days that followed were a tender dance of adjustment, a slow and careful melding of hearts and habits, like the gentle waves shaping the shore. Maile's initial resistance simmered like a pot left too long on the stove, her once sacred room now shared with Loki's quiet presence and Stitch Jr.'s playful quirks. She'd mutter, "This is my space," her voice a mix of frustration and a growing care she couldn't yet name, the sound echoing softly through the thin walls like a drumbeat of her teenage soul. The room, once a teen haven of posters featuring surfers and pop idols, scattered homework sheets, and a discarded surfboard leaning in the corner, now held Loki's small bed with its patchwork quilt. His suitcase unpacked to reveal a few worn clothes and a tattered picture of his parents, and the faint hum of Stitch Jr. as it organized trinkets into neat little piles with its tiny paws. Kimo, however, found a kindred spirit in the boy, spending long afternoons under the sprawling mango tree in their backyard, its broad leaves casting gentle, dappled shadows that danced across the ground with every breeze. His weathered hands, rough from years of fishing nets in farming soil, guided Loki's smaller, softer ones over the ukulele strings, teaching him delicate chords that rang with a sweet, hesitant melody, each note a step toward connection. His voice, rich with the cadence of old Hawaii, wove tales of warriors who fought with honor under volcanic skies, of chiefs who bound their people with the sacred bond of ohana. Family that transcended blood and stretched across generations like the roots of a banyan tree. Ohana means we stick together, he'd say, his eyes crinkling with a smile that carried the wisdom of decades, through every storm, through every loss. One rainy afternoon, as droplets tapped against the tin roof like a gentle percussion, Stitch Jr.'s mischief reached a peak. The doll, with a gleeful cackle that echoed through the house like a child's laughter, popped a water balloon it had somehow conjured from a pile of rags, sending a cascade over Maile's open textbook spread across the kitchen table, the pages turning to mush. Ink bleeding into illegible smears that mirrored her frustration. She yelped, leaping to her feet with a glare that could melt steel, her hands flailing to save her work. But when she saw Loki's infectious giggles, his small frame shaking with delight as he clapped his hands, her anger melted into a reluctant grin. "You're odd," she said, her voice softening as she wiped a wet page with a dish towel, "but kinda sweet." Kailani, juggling a string of odd jobs to keep the household afloat, mending nets for fishermen, weaving mats for the market, watched these moments unfold from the doorway, her hands pausing over a half-finished mat, the shuttle still in her grip. The air in their home, once heavy with the unspoken grief over her husband's death and the strain of single parenthood, now carried a breeze of possibility, as if Stitch Jr.'s arrival had cracked open a window to a brighter future. Letting in light where shadows had reigned for too long, a light that warmed her weary heart. Their routine reshaped with love and patience, a slow realignment of roles and relationships that mirrored the ebb and flow of the tides. Kailani rose before dawn, the first light filtering through the bamboo blinds, her mornings filled with the rhythmic clack of her loom as she crafted items to sell at the local market, her fingers moving with a muscle memory honed by years of necessity. Each thread a testament to her resilience. She'd hum old songs her husband Manu once sang, melodies of the sea and love, songs he'd strummed on his own ukulele during quiet nights on the beach, the sound of his voice a memory that lingered like salt on her skin. Their bittersweet comfort a lifeline to the days when his laughter filled their home. Maile stumbled out of bed later, her hair a wild tangle, grumbling about algebra equations and the unfairness of curfews, her teenage world a whirlwind of school pressures, social media notifications, and the lingering ache of her father's absence. Her surfboard now a do-style relic in the garage. Loki, still adjusting to this new life, would sit quietly at the kitchen table, his wide, curious eyes watching Kailani's hands as she worked, his small fingers tracing the patterns on a finished mat, while Stitch Jr. darted around to help. By stacking dishes with surprising precision or fetching a spool of thread with a zip of energy, its button eyes glinting with mischief. Kimo, despite his age and the creak of his joints that echoed with each step, insisted on tending the small garden out back, his knees protesting as he planted taro and sweet potatoes, the rich earth staining his hands, a ritual that connected him to the land his ancestors had tilled for generations. He'd mutter old proverbs under his breath, words about patience and perseverance, about the strength found in the soil as he worked with the hoe passed down through the family, its handle worn smooth by time. One evening, as the family gathered for a sparse dinner of rice and fish caught by a neighbor, the table lit by a single flickering bulb, Stitch Jr. decided to enhance the meal, zapping the fish with a soft burst of light that turned it into a shimmering, edible spectacle, its scales catching the light like tiny rainbows. The table erupted in laughter, even Maile joining in, her fork paused midair as she stared in amazement, her voice breaking the silence with a rare compliment. "Okay, that's actually cool," a warmth that drew a rare smile from Kailani, who felt the first stirrings of a family reborn, though the shadow of their past losses lingered like a quiet guest at the table, a reminder of the love that had shaped them. Kailani's days were a tapestry of labor and memory, each thread a stitch in the fabric of her survival. Her husband, Manu, had been more than a fisherman. He was the heartbeat of their home, his strong hands guiding their small boat through the waves with a skill that seemed almost magical, his sunburned face lighting up with joy as he returned with fish to feed them for days. She remembered the nights he'd come home, his laughter filling the house as he played with Maile, teaching her to tie knots with deft fingers or sing sea shanties in a voice that carried over the waves. Their silhouettes framed by the open door as the ocean breeze rustled the curtains. His death 3 years ago in a sudden storm had left a void, a silence that echoed in the empty space where his laughter once lived, the radio crackling with static that night as the Coast Guard's voice reported the missing boat. A hollow sound that haunted her dreams with visions of dark water and lost hope. The days after were a blur of tears and silence, Maile retreating into her room, her surfboard untouched, its wax still clinging to the deck. Kimo sitting by the shore for hours, his eyes scanning the horizon for a miracle that never came. His ukulele silent for the first time in years. Kailani had taken up weaving to fill the gap, her fingers now skilled at creating mats and baskets that sold modestly at the market, each stitch a tribute to his memory, a way to keep his spirit close as she worked late into the night. The loom's rhythm a heartbeat that soothed her restless mind. Maile, too, carried her father's legacy, though she rarely spoke of it, her rebellious streak a shield against the pain of losing the man who'd taught her to surf, his voice calling her name over the waves as she balanced on her board. The salt spray on her face a memory she couldn't escape. She'd spend hours with him on weekends, the ocean their playground, and his absence left a hole she filled with defiance, her surfboard now gathering dust in the garage, a relic of happier days she couldn't yet face. Kimo's past was a tapestry of its own, a rich weave of stories and strength. As a young man, he'd been a storyteller and fisherman, his boat a gathering place for the community where elders shared wisdom under the stars and children learned songs that carried the island's soul. He'd mediated local disputes not with weapons but with words, his tales of unity and peace a balm in times of conflict, his voice a steady anchor. His wife, Kailani's mother, had passed years ago from a fever that swept the island, leaving him to raise Kailani alone, teaching her the songs and crafts that now sustained them, her loss hardening him yet deepening his resolve to preserve their heritage. His garden and ukulele were testaments to that vow, and with Loki's arrival, those memories stirred, offering him a chance to pass on his legacy, to rebuild what time and tragedy had eroded, his heart swelling with purpose. Daily life in the Pele home became a blend of old and new, a rhythm of survival and rediscovery that pulsed with the heartbeat of their ohana. Kailani's weaving session stretched into the night, the clack of her loom a steady cadence in the quiet house, the only sound beyond the crickets outside, her fingers weaving not just mats but a future, the patterns a map of her resilience. Swirls for the sea that had taken Manu, lines for the strength that held her together. She'd worked by the light of a single lamp, its glow casting shadows on the walls, her mind drifting to Manu's stories of the ocean's moods, calm mornings turning to raging afternoons, his voice describing each swell with the fisherman's poetry. She sold her mats and baskets at the Saturday market, a colorful stall amid the bustle of vendors hawking mangoes and pineapples, musicians strumming steel guitars, and tourists haggling over trinkets. Their cameras clicking as they admired her craftsmanship, their voices a mix of awe and curiosity. The money was barely enough to cover bills, electricity flickering on late payments, water rationed to a trickle they stretched with care, the occasional doctor visit for Kimo's aching joints, but it fed them, a meager victory against the odds. Each sale a step toward stability. Maile helped sometimes, her teenage hands clumsy but eager, a rare moment of connection as she learned the basics under Kailani's guidance, her complaints fading into focus as she threaded a needle, the two of them laughing over a tangled knot. A sound that hadn't filled the house in years. Loki watched, his small fingers tracing the patterns, learning the craft, while Stitch Jr. assisted by threading needles with uncanny accuracy, its tiny paws moving with the precision that amused Kailani and drew a rare chuckle from Kimo. The doll's presence a bridge between them. Kimo's garden thrived, the taro leaves broad and green, the sweet potato swelling under the soil, a testament to his care and connection to the land. He'd sit with Loki, naming each plant, taro for strength, sweet potato for sustenance, telling stories of how they'd saved his people during famines, his voice a bridge to the past, a lesson in survival passed down through generations. The garden was his sanctuary, a place where he could forget the creak of his bones and the weight of years, his hoe a link to ancestors who'd worked the same earth, his hands trembling slightly as he worked, but steady with purpose. The beach trip became a cherished memory, a turning point etched in sand and sea, a day that lingered in their hearts like the scent of sunscreen and salt water. After a minor scare with some local boys teasing Loki, the family sat together, the picnic spread out again on a blanket worn thin by time, its edges frayed like their emotions, the basket holding leftovers of mango slices and sticky rice. Maile taught Loki to skim shells across the water, her laughter mingling with his, a sound Kailani hadn't heard in years, a melody of healing that lifted the heavy air and carried over the waves. She showed him how to angle the shell just right, her hands guiding his smaller ones, and soon they were cheering as the shells danced over the surface, skipping 3-4 times before sinking with a soft plop, their voices rising in a duet of joy. Kimo played a song Manu had loved, a slow ukulele tune that blended with the ocean's rhythm, the notes drifting over the sand like a ghost of the past, his fingers trembling but sure, each chord a memory of his son-in-law. For a moment, it felt like Manu was there, his spirit in the music, and Kailani's eyes misted as she joined in with a hummed harmony, her voice trembling but true, a sound that wove her grief into something beautiful. Loki listened, entranced, his eyes wide as he asked Kimo to teach him the song, a request that warmed the old man's heart and brought a tear to his eye, his voice cracking as he began the lesson right there on the sand. They shared stories, Kailani recalling Manu's fishing tales of dodging sharks and riding swells, his grin wide as he recounted each adventure, Kimo adding legends of the sea gods Pele and Namaka, their battles shaping the islands with fire and water, building a bridge between their pasts and Loki's present, a foundation for their ohana that grew stronger with each word. A neighbor, Mr. Hale, a retired teacher with a gentle curiosity, approached with a smile, asking about Stitch Jr.'s glow with a kind tone, his hands empty of clipboards or suspicion. "Just a toy's trick," Kailani said, her voice warm and deflecting, her smile tight but welcoming as she stepped closer to Loki, and he nodded, leaving them to their peace, his footsteps fading into the sound of the surf. The walk home was quiet, the twilight deepening around them, the streetlights flickering to life like stars in a city sky, their golden glow reflecting off the wet sand on their shoes. Kailani's thoughts turned to the years ahead, wondering how this new ohana would grow, how they'd weather the storms, literal and figurative, that lay beyond the horizon, her hands clutching the picnic basket as if it held their future. She carried the weight of Manu's dreams of a bigger boat, a future they'd never reached, his voice whispering in her mind with every step. Maile walked beside her, carrying the thermos, her mind on Loki's courage during the beach scare, a respect budding where resentment once lived, her steps lighter than they'd been in months, her heart softening with each shared laugh. Kimo hummed softly, his steps slow but steady, the ukulele slung over his shoulder, its wood warm from his touch, and Loki clung to Stitch Jr., the doll's presence a comfort, its button eyes glinting in the fading light like tiny beacons. The waves continued their endless song, a reminder that the sea, like life, could both give and take, and the Pele family stood at the edge of a journey that would test the strength of their ohana, their footsteps leaving prints in the sand that would soon be washed away by the tide. As days turned to weeks, the Pele household found a new rhythm, a heartbeat of resilience amid their struggles, a melody that played through their daily lives with increasing harmony. Kailani's market trips became a ritual, her stall a small island of color amid the Saturday bustle. Vendors hawking mangoes and pineapples with calls that filled the air, musicians strumming steel guitars under tattered umbrellas, and tourists haggling over trinkets with voices that rose and fell like the waves. She'd weave late into the night, her fingers aching from hours at the loom, the clack a lullaby that soothed her restless mind, the shuttle moving like a metronome in the dim light of a single lamp, the sight of Loki mimicking her stitches with Stitch Jr.'s help, the doll threading needles with a precision that defied its stitched form, its tiny paws a blur of motion, kept her going, a spark of joy in the exhaustion that made her smile despite the fatigue. She'd sell her mats and baskets, bargaining with visitors who marveled at the craftsmanship, their cameras clicking as they posed with her wares, their voices a mix of awe and curiosity, their praise a balm to her weary spirit. The money was a trickle, barely covering the electricity bill, which flickered on late payments, the water ration they stretched with care, a trip to the doctor for Kimo's aching joints. But it fed them, a meager victory against the odds, each coin a thread in the fabric of their survival. One day, a tourist offered double for a mat with a wave pattern, a design Kailani had crafted in memory of Manu, the swells etched in every fiber like a map of her heart, and the extra cash bought a new pair of shoes for Loki, his first gift from the family, his smile lighting the dim house as he tried them on, the laces tied with shaky hands, his eyes shining with gratitude. Maile's school life added tension to the mix, a battlefield of her own making, a stage where her emotions played out in fits and starts. Her grades slipped as she juggled algebra and history projects, her focus scattered by the upheaval at home, the new routines disrupting her study time, the textbooks piling up like a fortress around her desk, a teacher scolding about her attitude. "Maile, you're capable," But this defiance won't help you succeed. Fueled her rebellion, her retorts sharp in the classroom, her voice rising above the chalkboard's scratch, her defiance a shield against the vulnerability she felt. Yet she found solace in a school project, filming Loki's ukulele lessons with Kimo, the camera capturing the old man's trembling hands and the boy's earnest strumming, the notes a fragile bridge between generations, a sound that echoed with hope. The video, uploaded to a class site, earned her praise from her teacher. A beautiful portrayal of culture. The note read, written in red ink that stood out against the white paper, and a flicker of pride, a rare moment of validation that softened her edges, her shoulders relaxing as she read the words. Her friends teased her about adopting a kid, their laughter echoing in the hallways like a playful tide. But she brushed it off with a grin, her loyalty to Loki growing with each lesson, each shared laugh, her phone now a tool to document their bond rather than escape it, the screen filled with clips of their growing family. Kimo's garden yielded its first harvest, a modest pile of taro that he shared with neighbors, his stooped figure a familiar sight as he carried the roots door to door, the earthy scent clinging to his clothes. His stories of old feasts of warriors feasting after battle under the stars drew smiles and invitations to share meals, rekindling community ties that had faded since Manu's death, the porch steps creaking under the weight of visitors, their voices a chorus of reconnection. Loki adapted, his laughter filling the house with a lightness it hadn't known since Manu's days, a sound that bounced off the walls like a child's song. He'd follow Kimo to the garden, his small hands patting the soil, asking about every plant, taro, sweet potato, hibiscus, with a curiosity that was a balm to the old man's solitude, his questions a lifeline to the past. But nightmares of the storm sometimes woke him, his cries piercing the night, thunder crashing, waves roaring, his parents' voices fading into the dark like a fading echo, his small body trembling under the quilt. Kailani would rise, her lullabies soft and steady, songs Manu had sung to Maile, now passed to Loki, her voice a thread stitching their losses together, the notes wrapping around him like a warm embrace. Stitch Jr. would perch on the bed, its glow a nightlight, its presence a comfort that eased the boy back to sleep, its button eyes watching over him like a guardian, a silent promise of safety in the dark. The beach memory grew richer, a cornerstone of their bonding, a day etched in their hearts with the permanence of tide pools. After the bullies fled, scared off by Maile's fierce words, the family lingered, the sunset a canvas of color, pink fading to purple, the sky a reflection of their healing hearts, the horizon a promise. Maile and Loki built a sandcastle, its towers crumbling and rebuilt with care, a metaphor for their family, each fall a lesson in persistence, their hands working together to pack the sand tight. She showed him how to shape the walls, her fingers guiding his, and he added shells for windows, his imagination soaring as he placed a stick as a flag, his face alight with pride. Kimo taught Loki a hula step, his old legs shaky but determined, the movements a dance of respect for the land, his voice counting the beats with a rhythm that pulsed through the sand. Kailani joined, her steps rusty from years of neglect, but joyful, her laughter mingling with theirs as they stumbled through the dance, the sand shifting under their feet like a living thing. The music of Kimo's ukulele wove it all together, a harmony of past and present, and for a moment, the world was theirs alone, the waves their only audience. Mr. Hale watched from a distance, his kind smile visible as he sat on a driftwood log, nodding approval, his presence a gentle curiosity rather than a threat, his notebook closed as he simply enjoyed the scene. The market became Kailani's battlefield, a place where her strength shone. She'd arrive at dawn, her stall a patchwork of mats and baskets, the air thick with the scent of fruit and fried dough, the chatter of vendors a lively backdrop. Tourists haggled, their voices a cacophony, but she held firm, her prices a balance of need and pride, her hands steady as she displayed her wares. One day, a vendor offered to trade fish for a mat, the deal struck with a nod, and the fresh catch brought a rare protein to their table, Loki's eyes wide at the feast, his small hands reaching for a piece with a shy smile. Maile joined her sometimes, her presence drawing younger buyers, her phone capturing the scene for her project, the lens framing Kailani's hands at work, the colors of the mats vibrant against the market's earthy tones. School remained a struggle, her history essay on Hawaiian culture earned a B-, the teacher's red ink a sting that lingered, but her video project, featuring Loki, won a school contest, a trophy she proudly displayed on the mantle, its gleam a symbol of her effort, her classmates' applause still ringing in her ears. Kimo's health waned, his garden work slowing as his knees stiffened, the hoe heavier in his hands, but Loki's help kept it alive, the boys' enthusiasm a tonic, his laughter echoing as they pulled weeds together, the soil a shared canvas of their bond. The family planned a hula to celebrate their new ohana, a night to honor their journey. Kimo spent days teaching Loki the steps, his voice hoarse from chants, his hands guiding the boys' feet through the swaying rhythm, each movement a prayer to the land. Maile designed a program, her phone editing clips into a montage, her friends pitching in with decorations, lei of hibiscus strung with care, torches of bamboo flickering against the dusk, their flames casting a warm glow. Kailani wove a mat for the center, its pattern a family crest with waves and stars, her nights sleepless with effort as she stitched under the dim lamp, each thread a vow to protect their new family. Neighbors brought food, roasted pork, poi and sweet pineapple, their chatter filling the yard, a reunion that rekindled old bonds, the scent of the meal mingling with the salt air. The night arrived, torches lined the perimeter, their light dancing with the mango tree's leaves, the air thick with the scent of roasting meat and the sweet tang of fruit. Neighbors gathered, their voices a hum of anticipation, children darting between legs, adults sharing stories of old Hawaii. Kimo led the chant, his voice rising with a power that belied his years, the words calling to ancestors for strength. Loki stepped forward, his small frame trembling but determined, Maile beside him, her guidance steady as they moved through the steps, their hands weaving patterns in the air. Stitch Jr. joined, its glow a gentle accent, a soft light that pulsed with each beat, drawing soft gasps and smiles from the crowd. Kailani's chant soared, her voice blending with Kimo's, a harmony that carried their pain and hope, the notes rising like a wave. The performance ended with a flourish, Loki tripping but catching himself, Maile's laugh ringing out as she steadied him, the crowd erupting in applause, their hands clapping a rhythm of love. They gathered after, sharing the meal, Loki's small hands reaching for poi, Maile teasing him with a grin, Kailani and Kimo exchanging a knowing look. They reflected on their journey. Manu's loss, Loki's arrival, the bond forged through struggle. Ohana is our strength, Kailani whispered, her hand on Loki's shoulder, her heart full with a love that overflowed. Kimo nodded, his ukulele strumming a soft tune, the notes a lullaby for the night, and Maile added, "No matter what comes, we've got this," her voice steady with newfound confidence. Stitch Jr. glowed faintly, its button eyes gleaming, a silent promise of companionship. The night closed with laughter, the sound carrying over the waves, a testament to their resilience, ready to face whatever dawn might bring. The stars above a witness to their unity. The dawn broke over the Pele family home in Honolulu with a gentle glow, the first light filtering through the bamboo blinds, casting soft patterns on the woven mats that lined the floor. The air carried the familiar scent of saltwater and plumeria, now mingled with the earthy aroma of freshly harvested taro from Kimo's garden, a sign of their growing stability. The living room, still cluttered but infused with a new warmth, buzzed with the quiet sounds of morning. Kailani's loom clacking in the corner, Maile's sleepy hum as she shuffled to the kitchen, and Loki's soft chatter with Stitch Jr. as they played near the tiki statue. Kailani, her hands moving with practiced ease over the shuttle, felt a lightness she hadn't known since Manu's days, her heart swelling as she watched Loki mimic her stitches, his small fingers fumbling but determined. "You're getting good, little one," she said, her voice warm, a smile breaking through her fatigue. Maile, pouring herself a cup of tea, rolled her eyes playfully. "Mom, he's gonna take over your business," she teased, her tone lighter than it had been in months, a sign of the bond growing between them. Kimo, already in the garden, called out, "Bring him out here, time to learn the land." His voice, though raspy with age, carried a joy that echoed through the open window, the ukulele resting against his chair, a silent promise of songs to come. Loki's integration deepened with each passing day, his presence a thread that wove tighter into the family fabric. He shadowed Kimo in the garden, his small hands patting the soil alongside the old man's, asking endless questions about the plants, taro's broad leaves, sweet potatoes' hidden roots, hibiscus' vibrant blooms. "Why do they grow like this?" he'd ask, his eyes wide with wonder, and Kimo would chuckle, his voice rich with memory. "The land teaches us, Keiki. It gives when we care for it, like ohana." Together, they harvested the first full basket of taro, Loki's face beaming as he carried it inside, the weight a badge of pride. Stitch Jr. scampered alongside, its button eyes glinting as it helped by nudging stray roots back into place, its soft hum a constant companion. At night, Loki's nightmares grew less frequent, the storm's roar fading from his dreams, replaced by the lullabies Kailani sang. Manu's old sea songs, now a shared heritage. She'd sit by his bed, her voice a gentle tide, Stitch Jr. glowing softly on the pillow, its presence a comfort that eased him back to sleep, his small hand clutching the doll as if it held his past and future. Maile's world shifted too, her school life a mix of struggle and triumph. Her grades remained a battleground, algebra equations a puzzle she couldn't solve, her history essays marked with red ink that stung like a slap. "You're better than this, Maile," her teacher said, her tone firm but kind, and Maile nodded, her defiance wavering. But her video project blossomed, the series on Loki and Kimo's ukulele lessons gaining traction online, the comments flooding in. So heartwarming. Beautiful culture. Each one a boost to her confidence. She spent afternoons editing, her phone a tool of creation rather than escape, Loki often peeking over her shoulder, his giggles adding to the clips. One day, she surprised Kailani by joining the market stall, her presence drawing a crowd of teens who admired the mats, her sales pitch clumsy but earnest. "This one's got waves like my dad's stories," she said, her voice catching, and a tourist bought it on the spot, leaving her with a shy smile and a pocketful of cash that funded a new school book, a small victory she shared with pride at dinner. Kailani's market days became a lifeline, her stall a beacon of their resilience. She crafted new designs, patterns of waves and stars, each mat a story of their journey, selling them to tourists who lingered, their cameras capturing the colors against the market's earthy backdrop. One morning, a local artist offered to trade a painting for a mat. The deal struck with a handshake, and the vibrant canvas now hung in the living room, a splash of color that brightened their space. The money trickled in, enough to fix the roof's leaks that had dripped into Loki's room, the patter of rain now a gentle lullaby rather than a worry. She worked late, the loom's rhythm a heartbeat, her mind drifting to Manu, his hands on the boat, his laughter in the waves, and found solace in the craft, each stitch a prayer for their future. Kimo's garden flourished, the taro and sweet potatoes feeding neighbors who gathered on the porch, their voices a chorus of gratitude. He taught Loki hula chants, their voices blending in the evening air, the steps a dance of respect, drawing Auntie Lani and others to watch, their applause a balm to his aging spirit. A new challenge emerged with a letter from the community center, an invitation to a cultural fair where families showcase their heritage. Kailani saw it as a chance to honor Manu and strengthen their ohana, but it brought nerves. Could they prepare in time? Maile leapt at the idea, proposing a performance with Loki's hula and Kimo's ukulele, her video skills adding a modern touch. Kimo agreed, his eyes lighting up, and Loki clapped, Stitch Jr. spinning in excitement. The preparation became a family affair. Kailani wove a banner with their crest, Maile designed a program, and Kimo rehearsed with Loki, his voice steadying with each chant. Neighbors pitched in, bringing food and decorations, the yard transforming with torches and lei, the scent of roasting pork filling the air. The night before, Kailani found Loki staring at his parents' photo, his eyes wet. "I missed them," he whispered, and she held him, her own tears falling. "They're with us in Ohana," she said, her voice a promise, Stitch Jr. glowing softly beside them. The fair arrived, a celebration under a sky studded with stars. The community center's courtyard buzzed with laughter, stalls displaying crafts and food, the air thick with the scent of poi and pineapple. The Pele family's spot featured Kailani's mats, Maile's video playing on a borrowed screen, and Kimo's garden produce. Their performance drew a crowd. Loki and Maile danced, their steps syncing with Kimo's ukulele, Stitch Jr.'s gentle light adding a magical touch, gasps and smiles rippling through the audience. Kailani led a chant, her voice strong, a tribute to Manu, and the family's harmony moved hearts, the applause a wave of love. Afterward, they shared a meal, Loki's laughter mingling with Maile's teasing, Kailani and Kimo exchanging proud glances. A neighbor, Mr. Hale, approached, his kind eyes warm. "You've built something beautiful," he said, and Kailani nodded, her heart full. The night closed with stories by the fire, their ohana stronger, ready for the tides ahead. The morning sun rose over the Pele family home in Honolulu, its golden rays spilling through the bamboo blinds, painting the woven mats with a warm glow that mirrored the newfound harmony within. The air carried the familiar scents of saltwater, plumeria, and the fresh taro from Kimo's garden, now a thriving patch that fed their table and neighbors alike. The living room hummed with life, Kailani's loom clacked steadily in the corner, its rhythm a heartbeat of their days, Maile's soft whistle as she sketched ideas for her next video, and Loki's gentle laughter as he played with Stitch Jr. near the tiki statue, the doll's button eyes glinting with mischief. Kailani paused, her hands resting on the shuttle, her gaze lingering on Loki. His presence had transformed their home, filling the silence Manu left with a new kind of love. "You're part of us now," she said softly, her voice carrying a mother's warmth, and Loki smiled, his eyes bright with belonging. Maile glanced up, grinning. "Yeah, but don't think that gets you out of chores," she teased, tossing a pillow that Loki caught with a giggle, the room filling with their shared joy. Loki's integration deepened, his past a quiet mystery they began to unravel. One afternoon, while sorting his suitcase, he found a worn letter tucked into a fold, its edges yellowed and ink faded. Kailani read it aloud. A note from his mother, written before the storm, speaking of a family tradition of crafting dolls like Stitch Jr., passed down from her grandmother, a link to their heritage. "She made him for me," Loki whispered, his voice trembling, and Kailani hugged him, her tears mixing with his. "Then he's ohana too," she said, her heart aching with the weight of his loss yet swelling with pride. Kimo joined them, his weathered hands tracing the letter, his eyes misty. "We'll honor that," he promised, and that night, he taught Loki a chant his own mother had sung, the words a bridge to Loki's roots, their voices blending under the mango tree's canopy. Stitch Jr. glowed softly, as if acknowledging the connection, its hum a gentle underscore to their song. Maile's confidence grew, her school life a canvas of growth. Her grades steadied with Kailani's help, algebra solved over late-night tea, her history essays now earning praise. "A vivid tribute to your culture," her teacher wrote, the red ink a badge of honor. Her video series expanded, featuring Loki's chants in Kimo's garden, the online views climbing, comments like "This family's love shines," warming her spirit. She started a small blog, sharing their story, her words hesitant at first but gaining strength, each post a step toward healing. At the market, she took charge of the stall, her sales pitch polished, her laughter drawing crowds, the cash funding a new loom for Kailani, a gift that brought tears to her mother's eyes. "You're my strength," Kailani whispered, and Maile blushed, her heart full. Kailani's market days flourished, her stall a hub of their story. She wove mats with Loki's input, patterns of stars for his mother's memory, selling them to collectors who marveled at the craftsmanship, their cameras clicking like applause. One day, a tourist left a note with her payment, thanking her for preserving aloha, and she framed it, a reminder of their impact. The money fixed the house's sagging porch, a project Kimo oversaw with Loki's help, their hands working side by side, the wood creaking back to life. Kimo's garden became a community space, neighbors joining to plant, their voices a chorus of stories, his health improving with the activity, his ukulele songs now a nightly ritual that drew smiles. A challenge arose with Loki's school enrollment, a form requiring his family history that stirred old pain. Kailani hesitated, unsure how to fill the gaps, but Maile stepped in, researching online, piecing together clues from the letter. They visited Auntie Lani, an elder who remembered Loki's family, her tales of their fishing village filling the blanks, his mother's skill with dolls, his father's sea songs. "They'd be proud," Auntie said, her voice kind, and Kailani nodded, her resolve strengthening. They submitted the form together, Loki's hand in hers, a step toward his future. The school welcomed him, and his first day brought a drawing home. A family portrait with Stitch Jr., a gift that hung on the fridge, its colors a testament to their bond. The family planned a beach day to celebrate, a return to their roots. They packed a picnic, mango slices, poi, and fish from Kimo's trade. Spreading the blanket on the sand, the waves a gentle lullaby. Maile taught Loki to surf, her old board dusted off, her guidance patient as he wobbled, their laughter ringing out. Kimo played Manu's song, Kailani joining with a hum, tears in her eyes as the past and present merged. Loki shared a story from Auntie Lani, his father's boat dances, and they danced together, the sand their stage, Stitch Jr. twirling in the light. Mr. Hale joined, bringing shells for Loki, his smile a quiet support, the day ending with a shared sunset, their ohana a circle of love. Weeks later, A letter arrived from the Cultural Society, inviting them to a heritage exhibit with their mats and video. The preparation was a labor of love. Kailani wove a centerpiece, Maile edited a new clip, Kimo rehearsed with Loki. The exhibit night glowed with torches, the crowd admiring their work. Loki's dance with Maile earning cheers, Stitch Jr.'s light a soft highlight. Kailani spoke of Manu and Loki's mother, her voice steady, the family's story moving hearts. They shared a meal after, Loki's confidence shining, Maile's pride evident, Kailani and Kimo's eyes meeting in gratitude. The night closed with a chant, their voices rising, a promise of ohana enduring, ready for whatever lay ahead. The first light of dawn crept over the Pele family home in Honolulu, a soft golden hue seeping through the bamboo blinds, illuminating the woven mats that adorned the floor with patterns of waves and stars, each thread a testament to their resilience. The air was rich with the familiar sense of salt water drifting from the nearby shore, plumeria blossoms from the garden, and the earthy aroma of freshly cooked taro from Kimo's thriving patch, now a cornerstone of their sustenance. The living room buzzed with the gentle sounds of morning life, Kailani's loom clacking rhythmically in the corner, a steady heartbeat that anchored their days, Maile's soft humming as she scrolled through her phone planning her next video project, and Loki's delighted giggles as he played with Stitch Jr. near the weathered tiki statue, the doll's button eyes glinting with a playful sparkle. The space, once heavy with the silence of Manu's absence, now thrummed with a warmth that filled every corner. The photographs on the walls, faded snapshots of laughter and love, seeming to smile down on the family's renewal. Kailani paused, her hands resting on the shuttle, her gaze softening as she watched Loki attempt to mimic her weaving, his small fingers fumbling with a thread but persistent. "You're part of us now, Keiki," she said, her voice a warm embrace, and Loki beamed, his eyes reflecting the light of belonging that had grown within him. Maile glanced up from her phone, a grin tugging at her lips. "Yeah, but don't think that gets you out of chores, little brother," she teased, tossing a cushion that Loki caught with a laugh, the room erupting in their shared joy, a sound that echoed like a song through the open window. Loki's integration into the family deepened with each passing day, his past a quiet mystery they began to unravel with care and curiosity, like peeling back the layers of an ancient scroll. One rainy afternoon, while the family gathered around the kitchen table, the patter of drops on the tin roof a soothing backdrop, Loki pulled out a small, worn wooden box from his suitcase, its lid carved with faint wave patterns that hinted at its origin. Inside lay a collection of treasures, seashells, a faded photo of his parents on their boat, and a brittle journal filled with his mother's handwriting, her elegant script detailing the craft of doll-making passed down from her grandmother, a tradition rooted in their fishing village. Kailani read aloud, her voice trembling with emotion as she traced the words. "These dolls carry our stories, our love to protect those we cherish." Loki's eyes welled up, his small hand clutching Stitch Jr. tightly. "She made him for me," he whispered, his voice a fragile thread, and Kailani enveloped him in a hug, her tears mingling with his, a shared grief that bound them closer. Kimo joined, his weathered hands gently taking the journal, his eyes misty as he recognized the village name, Kailua Kona, a place he'd visited in his youth. "We'll honor her craft," he promised, his voice steady with resolve, and that evening, under the mango tree's sheltering branches, he taught Loki a chant his own mother had sung, the words abridged to Loki's roots, their voices blending in a harmony that rose above the rain. Stitch Jr. glowed softly, its hum a gentle underscore, as if acknowledging the connection to its maker, its light casting a warm circle around them, a moment of unity etched in their hearts. Maile's transformation continued, her school life a canvas of growth and self-discovery that painted her with new colors. Her grades steadied with Kailani's patient guidance, late-night sessions over tea turning algebra into a puzzle they solved together, her history essays now earning praise, a vivid tribute to your culture, Maile, beautifully done, her teacher wrote. The red ink a badge of honor that glowed on the page. Her video series expanded, capturing Loki's chants, Kimo's garden work, and Kailani's weaving, the online views climbing steadily, comments like, "This family's love shines through," and "Such a beautiful legacy," warming her spirit and fueling her creativity. She started a small blog, her words hesitant at first as she typed out their story, Manu's loss, Loki's arrival, their ohana's rebirth, but gaining strength with each post. Each entry a step toward healing, a digital tapestry of their journey. At the market, she took charge of the stall with a newfound confidence, her sales pitch polished and warm, her laughter drawing crowds of teens and tourists alike, the cash from her efforts funding a new loom for Kailani. A gift that brought tears to her mother's eyes as she ran her hands over the smooth wood. "You're my strength, Maile," Kailani whispered, her voice thick with emotion, and Maile blushed, her heart swelling with pride, her arms wrapping around her mother in a rare, tender hug that spoke volumes. Kailani's market days flourished, her stall a vibrant hub of their story, a beacon of their resilience amid the Saturday bustle. She wove mats with Loki's input, patterns of stars for his mother's memory, waves for Manu Sea, and hibiscus blooms for their new hope, selling them to collectors who lingered, their cameras clicking like applause. Their voices filled with awe as they traced the intricate designs. One morning, a local artist offered to trade a painting for a mat. The deal struck with a handshake over a cup of kava, and the vibrant canvas, depicting a fisherman's boat against a sunset, now hung in the living room. A splash of color that brightened their space and sparked conversations. The money trickled in, enough to fix the house's sagging porch, a project Kimo oversaw with Loki's eager help, their hands working side by side to hammer nails and paint boards, the wood creaking back to life under their care. The scent of fresh paint mingling with the sea air. Kimo's garden became a community space, neighbors joining to plant rows of taro and sweet potatoes, their voices a chorus of stories and laughter, his health improving with the activity, his joints less stiff as he moved among the plants. His ukulele songs now a nightly ritual that drew smiles and swaying hips from those gathered on the porch. A new challenge emerged with a community meeting, a call to address a proposed development that threatened their beach, a resort that would erase the sands where Manu had fished, where Loki's family had thrived. Kailani felt the weight of it, the loss of their heritage a wound reopened, but she saw a fight worth waging. Maile rallied, her blog turning into a platform, posting videos of the beach's beauty, Loki's stories, and Kimo's chants, the online support growing, petitions signed, voices raised. Kimo led a protest song, his ukulele a rallying cry, neighbors joining with drums and hula, their footsteps a dance of defiance. Kailani spoke at the meeting, her voice steady, "This beach is our ohana soul," and the developer paused, the community's unity a force. They won a delay, a victory that strengthened their bond, celebrated with a beach cleanup, hands working together, the sand cleared of debris, their laughter a new tide. Loki's school life blossomed, his drawings filling the fridge, family portraits with Stitch Jr., colors vibrant with love. He joined a cultural club, learning hula and chants, his confidence growing, his teacher noting he's found his place. One day he brought home a project, a doll like Stitch Jr., crafted with Kimo's help, presenting it to Kailani, his eyes shining. "For you," he said, and she held it close, tears falling, the family gathering around, their embrace a circle of acceptance. Stitch Jr. glowed, its light a celebration, its hum a song of belonging. The beach day became a ritual, a return to their roots under a sky streaked with orange and pink. They packed a picnic, mango slices, poi, fish from Kimo's trade, spreading the blanket on the sand, the waves a gentle lullaby. Maile taught Loki to surf, her old board waxed anew, her guidance patient as he wobbled, their laughter ringing out, the ocean a mirror to their joy. Kimo played Manu's song, Kailani joining with a hum, tears in her eyes as the past merged with the present, the notes carrying Manu's spirit. Loki shared a story from Auntie Lani, his father's boat dances, and they danced together, the sand their stage, Stitch Jr. twirling in the light, its glow a soft spotlight. Mr. Hale joined, bringing shells for Loki, his smile a quiet support, the day ending with a shared sunset, their ohana a circle of love, the horizon a promise. The heritage exhibit loomed, an honor from the Cultural Society, their mats and videos showcased. Preparation was a labor of love, Kailani wove a centerpiece with Loki's star pattern, Maile edited a clip of their beach fight, Kimo rehearsed with Loki, their voices a duet. The night glowed with torches, the crowd admiring their work, Loki's dance with Maile earning cheers, Stitch Jr.'s light a gentle accent. Kailani spoke of Manu and Loki's mother, her voice a river of emotion, the family's story moving hearts, awards presented, a plaque for their unity. They shared a meal after, Loki's confidence shining, Maile's pride evident, Kailani and Kimo's eyes meeting in gratitude. A storm threatened that night, but they weathered it together, the house a fortress of love, their laughter a shield, the dawn bringing a rainbow, a sign of hope. Weeks later, a letter from Kailua Kona arrived, an invitation to a family reunion tracing Loki's lineage. The journey was a family quest, packing mats, ukuleles, and hopes, arriving to a village of warm smiles, elders recognizing Stitch Jr.'s craft. Loki met cousins, their stories weaving his past into his present, a ceremony honoring his mother's legacy, his dance a tribute. Kailani felt Manu's presence, Maile recorded it all, Kimo played, the family's bond deepening. They returned home, the beach safe, their ohana a tapestry of roots and revelations, ready for whatever tides would come. The morning sun rose over the Pele family home in Honolulu, its golden rays filtering through the bamboo blinds with a gentle warmth, casting intricate shadows across the woven mats that adorned the floor, each pattern a story of their resilience and love. The air was alive with the familiar sense of saltwater carried on the breeze from the nearby shore, the sweet fragrance of plumeria blossoms from the garden, and the hearty aroma of taro stew simmering on the stove. A dish Kimo had perfected with Loki's eager assistance. The living room, once a silent shrine to Manu's memory, now pulsed with the vibrant sounds of their ohana, Kailani's loom clacking rhythmically in the corner, a steady heartbeat that anchored their days, Maile's soft whistle as she edited footage on her laptop. The screen glowing with clips from their Kailua Kona journey and Loki's delighted sea patter as he played with Stitch Jr. near the tiki statue, the doll's button eyes twinkling with a playful light. The space had transformed, the faded photographs on the walls, snapshots of laughter, loss, and now renewal, seeming to watch over them with approval, the new painting from the market trade adding a burst of color that reflected their growth. Kailani paused, her hands resting on the shuttle, her gaze lingering on Loki as he attempted to weave a small mat, his small fingers fumbling but determined, a mirror of her own early days. "You're carrying on a beautiful tradition," she said, her voice a warm tide, and Loki beamed, his eyes shining with pride and belonging. Maile glanced up, a grin spreading across her face. "Yeah, but don't let it go to your head, Keiki, you still owe me a dishwashing shift," she teased, tossing a rolled-up sock that Loki caught with a laugh, the room filling with their shared joy, a melody that drifted out the open window to mingle with the distant crash of waves. The return from Kailua Kona lingered in their hearts, a journey that had woven Loki's past into their present with threads of discovery and connection. The village reunion had been a tapestry of emotions, warm smiles from cousins who shared Loki's dark eyes, elders who recognized Stitch Jr.'s craft as a hallmark of their lineage, and stories that filled the gaps of his heritage. Loki had stood shyly at first, clutching Kailani's hand, but as the ceremony unfolded, a hula honoring his mother's doll-making skill, led by an aunt with hands as weathered as Kimo's, he stepped forward, his dance a tribute. His voice joining the chant with a strength that surprised them all. Kailani felt Manu's presence in the rhythm, a whisper in the wind, while Maile recorded every moment, her camera capturing the tear-streaked faces and the glow of Stitch Jr. as it twirled in the light. Kimo played his ukulele, the notes a bridge between generations, and the family returned home with a renewed sense of ohana, Loki's suitcase now brimming with new treasures, a shell necklace from his cousin, a journal page of his mother's recipes, and a small carving of a boat that mirrored his father's. At home, they spread these items on the table, each piece a story they shared over taro stew, Loki's voice growing steadier as he recounted the village tales, his laughter a light that chased away the shadows of his past. Maile's evolution deepened, her school life a canvas of triumph and purpose that painted her with confidence. Her grades soared with Kailani's nightly tutoring, algebra equations becoming a game they conquered together, her history essays now earning top marks, a masterful blend of personal and cultural narrative, her teacher wrote, the red ink a crown of achievement. Her video series and blog had become a local sensation, the online community rallying behind their beach preservation fight. Comments like, "Your ohana inspires us," and "Keep fighting," fueling her drive. She launched a fundraiser, her words on the blog weaving a call to action, the funds raised buying supplies for the community garden, a gift that brought neighbors to tears. At the market, she led the stall with a natural charisma, her sales pitch a blend of humor and heart, the cash flowing in to repair the house's old roof, the patter of rain now a gentle lullaby rather than a threat. One evening, she surprised the family with a framed print of her best video still, Loki and Kimo dancing, hanging it beside Manu's photo, a tribute that moved Kailani to tears. "You've given us more than we dreamed," Kailani whispered, her arms around Maile, their bond a fortress of love. Kailani's market days were a celebration of their legacy, her stall a vibrant testament to their journey. She wove mats with Loki's input, stars for his mother, waves for Manu, hibiscus for their hope, each design a story sold to collectors who lingered, their cameras clicking, their voices filled with reverence. One afternoon, a tourist left a letter with her payment, thanking her for keeping aloha alive, and she tucked it into her apron, a treasure to reread on weary nights. The money funded a community feast, the porch groaning under tables of pork, poi, and pineapple, neighbors toasting their unity, the laughter a wave that washed over the yard. Kimo's garden expanded, a shared project with the village's seeds from Kailua Kona. The taro and sweet potatoes feeding more mouths, his health bolstered by the work, his ukulele songs now a nightly gathering that drew children to dance, their small feet pattering like rain. A new challenge surfaced with a storm warning, a threat to their beach and home that tested their ohana strength. Kailani organized preparations, securing the house with Maile's help, boarding windows, stacking sandbags, while Kimo and Loki reinforced the garden, their hands muddy but determined. The storm hit with fury, rain lashing the roof, wind howling like a mourner, but they weathered it together, huddled in the living room, Stitch Jr.'s glow a beacon. Kailani sang Manu songs, Maile told stories, Kimo played, and Loki clung to them, his fear easing into trust. The dawn revealed damage, the porch sagged again, the garden flooded, but the house stood, their unity a shield. Neighbors joined the cleanup, hands working in rhythm, the beach spared, their efforts of victory celebrated with a shared meal, the taste of survival sweet on their tongues. Loki's growth shone, his school life a garden of potential. His cultural club performances earned praise, his hula a blend of Kailua Kona and Honolulu styles, his teacher noting, he's a leader in the making. He crafted dolls with Kimo, gifting one to each family member, each a symbol of their bond, Kailani's with waves, Maile's with stars, Kimo's with hibiscus. One night, he asked about Manu, and Kailani shared stories, his fishing tales, his laughter, her voice breaking but healing, Loki listening with wide eyes, Stitch Jr. glowing beside him, a silent witness. The family framed a new photo, Loki with his dolls beside Manu's, a legacy continued. The community fair loomed, a chance to showcase their journey. Preparation was a family tapestry, Kailani wove a grand mat, Maile edited a storm recovery video, Kimo rehearsed with Loki, their voices a duet. The fair night glowed with torches, the crowd marveling at their display, mats, videos, garden produce. Loki's dance with Maile a highlight, Stitch Jr.'s light a gentle accent. Kailani spoke of their trials, her voice a river of hope, awards presented for community spirit. They shared a feast after, Loki's confidence radiant, Maile's pride glowing, Kailani and Kimo's eyes meeting in love. A letter arrived later, an offer to document their story for a cultural archive. Honor they accepted, their ohana's legacy secured, ready for the future's waves. The dawn broke over the Pele family home in Honolulu with a serene golden light, the first rays filtering through the bamboo blinds to dance across the woven mats that lined the floor, their patterns of waves, stars, and hibiscus blooms now a vibrant testament to their journey. The air was a symphony of familiar scents, saltwater wafting from the shore, the sweet perfume of plumeria blossoms from the garden, and the rich, earthy aroma of taro stew bubbling on the stove, a dish that had become a symbol of their unity. The living room, once a silent echo of Manu's absence, now thrummed with the lively sounds of their ohana, Kailani's loom clacking with a steady rhythm, a heartbeat that had guided them through storms. Maile's soft humming as she reviewed footage for the Cultural Archive project, the screen casting a gentle glow, and Loki's joyful laughter as he played with Stitch Jr. near the tiki statue, the doll's button eyes sparkling with the light that mirrored their renewed spirit. The space had evolved into a sanctuary, the faded photographs on the walls, snapshots of laughter, loss, and now a thriving family seeming to nod in approval, the vibrant painting from the market trade and Loki's framed family portrait adding colors of hope. Kailani paused, her hands resting on the shuttle, her gaze softening as she watched Loki weave a small mat, his fingers more skilled now, each stitch a reflection of her teachings. "You've made this home stronger," she said, her voice a warm tide of pride, and Loki smiled, his eyes shining with the belonging that had rooted him here. Maile glanced up, a grin spreading across her face. "Yeah, but don't get too comfy, you're still on dish duty tonight," she teased, tossing a cushion that Loki caught with a laugh, the room filling with their shared joy, a melody that drifted out the window to blend with the distant crash of waves. A sound that had always been their companion. The journey from Kailua Kona had left an indelible mark, a tapestry of discovery that wove Loki's past into their present with threads of love and legacy. The reunion had been a revelation, cousins with his dark eyes welcoming him, elders tracing Stitch Jr.'s craft to his great-grandmother, a master doll maker whose hands had shaped traditions now passed to him. Loki had stood shyly at first, clutching Kailani's hand, but as the ceremony unfolded, a hula honoring his mother's skill, led by an ant with a voice like the sea, he stepped forward, his dance a tribute. His voice joining the chant with a strength that surprised even himself, his small feet moving with the grace of his ancestors. Kailani felt Manu's presence in the rhythm, a whisper in the wind that carried his laughter, while Maile recorded every tear-streaked face, every glow of Stitch Jr. as it twirled, her camera a witness to their heritage. Kimo played his ukulele, the notes a bridge between generations, and they returned home with treasures: a shell necklace from his cousin, a journal of his mother's recipes, a boat carving from his father's boat, that they spread on the table. Each piece a story shared over taro stew, Loki's voice growing steadier as he recounted the village tales, his laughter a light that chased away the shadows of his past. The family decided to honor this legacy, Kimo teaching Loki more chants, Kailani weaving a mat with Kailua Kona patterns, Maile documenting it all, their home a living archive of their blended roots. Maile's transformation reached new heights, her school life a canvas of purpose and pride that painted her with a radiant confidence. Her grades had become a source of joy, algebra mastered with Kailani's late-night guidance, her history essays now earning accolades, a profound exploration of ohana, Maile, a work of art, her teacher wrote, the red ink a crown of achievement that glowed on the page. Her video series and blog had become a cultural touchstone, the online community rallying behind their beach preservation and storm recovery. Comments like, "Your family's love is a gift," and "Inspiring strength," fueling her drive. The fundraiser she launched raised enough for a community center playground, the ribbon cutting a day of cheers, children's laughter echoing as they played, a gift that brought tears to the elders' eyes. At the market, she led the stall with a natural charisma, her sales pitch a blend of humor and heart, the cash flowing in to build a small shed for Kimo's garden tools, the wood smelling of fresh cedar as they assembled it together. One evening, she presented a scrapbook of their journey, photos, blog posts, video stills, gifting it to Kailani, who traced the pages with trembling fingers. "You've given us a legacy," Kailani whispered, her arms around Maile, their bond a fortress of love that stood taller than ever. Kailani's market days were a celebration of their enduring spirit, her stall a vibrant hub of their story amid the Saturday bustle. She wove mats with Loki's input, stars for his mother, waves for Manu, hibiscus for their hope, now accented with Kailua Kona shells, each design a narrative sold to collectors who lingered, their cameras clicking, their voices filled with reverence as they traced the intricate work. One afternoon, a group of tourists commissioned a series of mats for a museum exhibit, their payment a windfall that funded a family trip to repair the beach's erosion barriers, their hands working with neighbors to stack rocks, the sand stabilizing under their care. The money also built a small stage on the porch, where Kimo's nightly ukulele sessions grew into community gatherings, the music a thread that stitched them to the village. Kimo's garden expanded into a shared oasis, the Kailua Kona seeds thriving, the taro and sweet potatoes feeding a feast that drew the entire neighborhood, his health bolstered by the work, his joints less stiff as he moved among the plants. His songs now a nightly ritual that drew children to dance, their small feet pattering like rain, their parents swaying with smiles. The storm's aftermath brought a new challenge, a proposal to relocate the community inland, a move that threatened their beach connection. Kailani felt the weight of it, the loss of their heritage a wound reopened, but she saw a fight worth waging, her voice rising at meetings, "This beach is our soul, our ohana's heartbeat." Maile amplified it, her blog a megaphone, videos of the storm's resilience, Loki helping with sandbags, Kimo chanting going viral, petitions signed by hundreds. Kimo led a protest hula, his ukulele a rallying cry, neighbors joining with drums and voices, their footsteps a dance of defiance that echoed to the council. The developer relented, agreeing to a compromise, beach preservation with inland support, a victory celebrated with a beach festival, hands clearing debris, the sand gleaming, their laughter a new tide that washed over the shore. The festival featured their mats, Maile's videos, and Loki's dolls, the crowd's applause a wave of love, Mr. Hale presenting a plaque for community spirit, his kind eyes warm with pride. Loki's growth blossomed, his school life a garden of potential and promise. His cultural club performances earned standing ovations, his hula a fusion of Kailua Kona and Honolulu styles, his teacher noting, "He's a leader, a bridge between worlds." He crafted dolls with Kimo, gifting one to each family member, Kailani's with waves for Manu, Maile's with stars for her vision, Kimo's with hibiscus for his spirit, each a symbol of their bond, the process a ritual of love. One night, he asked about Manu's dreams and Kailani shared stories, his plans for a bigger boat, his hopes for their future, her voice breaking but healing, Loki listening with wide eyes, Stitch Jr. glowing beside him, a silent witness. The family framed a new photo, Loki with his dolls, Kailani, Maile, and Kimo around him, beside Manu's, a legacy continued, the colors vibrant against the wall. The Cultural Archive project culminated in a grand event, a chance to preserve their story. Preparation was a family tapestry. Kailani wove a massive mat with all their patterns. Maile edited a documentary of their journey. Kimo rehearsed with Loki, their voices a duet of past and present. The night glowed with torches at the community center, the crowd marveling at their display, mats, videos, garden produce, dolls. Loki's dance with Maile a highlight. Stitch Jr.'s light a gentle accent, gasps and smiles rippling through. Kailani spoke, her voice a river of hope. Our ohana is Manu's dream, Loki's roots, our love enduring through every tide. Awards followed, a certificate for cultural preservation, a grant for the garden, presented amid applause, the family's story moving hearts. They shared a feast after, tables groaning with pork, poi, and pineapple, Loki's confidence radiant as he served, Maile's pride glowing as she filmed, Kailani and Kimo's eyes meeting in gratitude, their hands clasped. The finale unfolded with a beach ceremony, a tribute to their journey. The family planned it for weeks. Kailani wove a ceremonial mat. Maile created a video montage. Kimo composed a new song. Loki practiced a hula with village steps. The day dawned clear, the beach lined with torches, neighbors gathering, the air thick with the scent of roasting meat and sea salt. The ceremony began with Kimo's song, his ukulele notes rising like a prayer, the melody weaving Manu's memory with Loki's heritage, the crowd swaying. Loki danced, his steps fluid, Maile beside him, their movements a story of unity, Stitch Jr. glowing at the center, its light a beacon. Kailani led a chant, her voice strong, a tribute to all they'd overcome, Manu's loss, Loki's arrival, the storms her words carrying over the waves. The montage played, tears and smiles mixing, the community joining in a final hula, hands linked, a circle of love. Mr. Hale spoke, presenting a preserved beach sign, Pele Ohana shore, a lasting mark. They shared a feast, Loki's poi perfect, Maile's laughter bright, Kailani and Kimo's eyes wet with joy, stories flowing, the night stretching long. As stars emerged, they sat by the fire, Loki asleep in Kailani's lap, Stitch Jr. dimming, Maile recording, Kimo playing softly. Kailani whispered, our ohana is eternal, her hand on Loki's head. The waves a lullaby, their legacy secure, ready to face any future tide with love unbroken.